So this is week 13 vlog, and a lot has happened change-wise for me. I have grown so much in about 2 weeks span. So if you take a look at the photo I posted in the beginning, 6.5 inches, almost 7 inches bigger now. It's crazy how fast I've gotten in like only 2 weeks, because I really have only gotten like obviously pregnant big like the last like 2 weeks now. But we went to go see the Femme, so that was like the big event for this week. And I am so excited to give birth, which is weird because at first that was like the most scary thing to even think about, was giving birth. And so, most daunting anyway for me. And so we went to meet the Femme, which is like the midwife. So it's the French, in France they say Femme. So we met with her, and she was showing us the birthing center. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It's like this, you know, like 5-star, like loft style apartment thing. Like, it's like so cool. And you have like a kitchen and, you know, of course, bathroom and living room, you know, bed, everything. And it's kind of just like a little like studio apartment. And yeah, so I don't know, it looks really nice. And they have different options for giving birth. So they have the tub and then the bed. And there's like this like ball thing. Anyway, and then there's like the chair for giving birth too. So yeah, there's lots of different options, and it just kind of depends on like how I'm feeling and like what the sage-femme thinks would be best. But yeah, so anyway, I feel more confident, and talking with her too, like, short of breath, and so talking with her, it was really nice to kind of like get some questions answered, and I felt really comfortable with her, and I trust her, and yeah, so it was good. I am a little bit worried about the language sometimes, because when we were talking, like, sometimes I have like good days and I understand French completely, and then there's some days where I'm just like, I don't even know what you said. So I have like my moments where my brain just like isn't working at all. So I hope that the language isn't like end up being a problem, but yeah. So that went pretty well. What else? I went to the gynecologist the other day, and so she did just like a, you know, checkup and check the baby and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, where are your results for the Down syndrome test?" And I was like, "Oh, I decided not to do it." And she's like, "What do you mean you didn't do it?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I just decided that, you know, my husband and I decided if the baby had Down syndrome, it wouldn't matter, and, you know." And she's like, "Well, we still need to know, and why wouldn't you abort the baby?" And I was like, "Oh," like, so I was not expecting her to ask me that, and I was like, "Oh, well, like, in Canada, that's not very normal. Like, I mean, I guess maybe it happens, but I don't really hear of that happening. Like, if a couple finds out their baby has Down syndrome, they abort the baby. Like, I've never heard of that." And so I was quite, like, shocked that she asked me. And, I mean, I really hope I don't offend any, like, European friends we have, but I had asked, like, numerous different European friends from different countries, and they all were like, that was pretty normal. And it's not, like, I don't, I don't know, I guess it's, like, different for me because I'm finding it, like, so shocking that, like, that's even discussed. But, yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the way I was brought up, but I don't know. So it sounded really, like, bizarre that it's kind of like what happens here. So the thing is that, like, for Lena, it doesn't matter, but then she was like, "Look, okay, I understand, like, you wouldn't abort the baby, but, like, we still need to know, like, medical reasons and blah, blah, blah." So I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I get it." So I went and go do the test, and so we just got my husband's medical card, and I'm attached to it. So I don't have my own card, I just, like, use his, but his picture's on it. So anyway, I go to get my blood work done, because I already have part of the test. Like, I think I mentioned in the last blog that the ultrasound technician was like, "Oh yeah, the baby's, like, everything's fine." So that was part 1, and then part 2 I need to get a blood test. So anyway, went to the lab to get the blood work, and they fill out all my paperwork and, you know, with the medical card and whatever. And so they, you know, call my name, but they always use last name. So it's like Madame Bacli. And so, yeah, but they did, I didn't really hear if she said Madame or Monsieur or whatever. I just heard Barkley and I, you know. And so we go into, like, the room to get it done. And she's like, "Okay, what's your first name?" So I tell her, and she's like, "Oh, how do you spell that?" And so I spell it, and she's like, "Oh, okay, when are you born?" So I tell her my birth date, and she's like, "Are you sure that's your birthday?" And I'm laughing, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that's my birthday. Like, but I had to think about it. Did I say it weird in French? But I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I said that correctly. And she's looking at the chart and she's like, huh. And so she shows me this picture of my husband and she's like, is this you? And I'm like, I burst out laughing. I was like, do I look that terrible right now that I look like a man? Like, are you kidding? And so I'm like, that's my husband. And she's like, oh, what's your husband's name? And I tell her and she's like, oh, okay, when's his birthday? So they had his chart and I'm like, are they that daft that like, do I look like a man? Like, I was, like, so upset. I was, like, more offended probably than I would normally have been, I guess. I don't know. But it was, like, pouring rain that day, and so I did look terrible. I was, like, soaked. And so, anyway, I'm just, like, for the rest of the day, I was like, oh, my God, I look like a man. I thought I was a boy. Like, I'm like, did they not notice that it said male? Like, why would a male come in to get blood work to find out if a baby has Down syndrome? Like, that is just so stupid. So this was like the one and only time so far that something so stupid like this has happened medically, like here in France. Like, medical wise, everything has gone so well and everything's so taken care of and organized really well, except for this like really bizarre time that they thought I was my husband, like going to get blood work for like a pregnancy thing related thing. Anyway, it was really bizarre. And I was there for so long because then they needed to go redo all of the paperwork. And because they marked down that Lee was the one who was pregnant. So I'm just like, I'm not sure if this like one woman doing it was just like really stupid or if she just didn't really realize. I don't know. But still, it was really bizarre that that happened. And yeah. So anyway, we're waiting for the results on it, but I don't know how I feel about it. I'm just like so confused about it now because it's like, anyway. Well, we'll see what happens. The echography, the ultrasound technician, he was just like, yeah, no, the baby's fine. But yeah. So that was a bit of a weird thing that happened this week. But our weekend, actually, we had such a lovely weekend. We went to a place called Dune, and it's close to Arcachon, which is like it's on the sea. So it's about an hour away from Bordeaux. So Bordeaux is kind of like an hour more inland. But yeah, it was really gorgeous and it was such a nice day. Like, we've had the weirdest weather and all of our French friends are like, oh, we promise, like, it's normally nicer, and we're like, it's not getting nicer. It's been raining and cloudy, and the only times that it's sunny, it lasts for maybe like 15-20 minutes, and it's so windy, and so the wind comes and blows the clouds. And anyway, I could really go on about the weather, but it was really gorgeous this past weekend. So we went to the Dune, and so I'll post some pictures at the end, and then you can see. But it was so like steep high up, and I'm like, I don't know if I could handle doing this. But there were stairs, so I'm like, okay, I'll just take it slow. So I started hiking up it. But I was wearing my flats because I have to wear the pressure stockings and they're closed-toed. So I can't wear sandals, which really it sucks. So on a nice day, I don't really want to wear flats. But I have to wear the stockings and I learned my lesson. I have to wear them. So anyway, I'm halfway up and there's like sand all in my shoes and it's in my leggings. And I'm like, oh, this is so annoying. And so we get to the top and, oh, sorry. And, there's like, it's a dune, there's sand everywhere, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, I want to enjoy my day. I don't want to, go back down to the bottom and complain about sand in my stockings. So I had to like take my stockings off, like on the top of the dune, but I had them underneath my jeans. So like my hands like in my pants trying to get these stockings off, and anyway, my husband's holding up a towel and I'm trying to like, get them off. So finally get them off. And, like, oh, the sand between my toes was so nice. And I was like, I don't ever want to put these stockings on again. But anyway, so I did last the entire day without wearing them. And I was totally fine. I didn't get sick at all. And I was exerting a lot of energy climbing up this hill on this massive dune. So anyway, I was okay. So I'm not sure what the factors were that made that time better than the other time, especially because I was exerting way more energy. But I did take my iron pill that day, so that maybe made a bit more of a difference. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to just continue to be off and on blood pressure wise with me. Like There's going to be some days that are better than others, and I'm finding that I'm still tired. Like, that's one pregnancy symptom that hasn't gone away yet. Like, my doctor's like, oh, it must be so nice to have more energy, and I'm like, I really don't. Like, I'm not as tired early. Like, I get tired at, like, midnight now, whereas before it'd be, like, 6 p.m., and I'd be, like, exhausted. But I still, like, cannot wake up in the morning. It's, like, such a hard thing for me to do is, like, get out of bed. But I sleep in, like, it's like 9:30 or 10, and go to bed at midnight. So I'm getting like 9.5 to 10 hours of sleep every night, and so it's like that's a lot. So I mean, I am tired, so I guess I need it, but I don't know. I feel like so lazy. But I don't know. The doctor said it probably has a lot to do with my blood pressure and the way I'm just handling the pregnancy. So I don't know. But yeah, it has been pretty hard, like, to exert exercise-wise. So I was quite proud of myself being able to climb up the dune. But yeah, anyway. So there's nothing really coming up this week for us that I can really think of. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll just try to keep you guys updated on more pregnancy-related symptoms. Like, at this point, most things I read and what people say, normally symptoms are kind of like completely gone by now. But I did hear actually congestion was like a pregnancy symptom that you get when you're like a little bit over 3 months pregnant. So that was kind of weird. But the weather's been off and on here, so I wondered if that's kind of where, because I was a little bit congested. That's the other thing that's driving me absolutely crazy. My speech is so far, like, it's so spotty, and like I say all these weird things and words that go together, and my grammar's terrible, and I have to like really think when I say things. And I just slurred there too, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't normally speak like that. But anyway, I'm not really sure what the problem is with that. Yeah, so that's it. I will update you guys in another week. Okay, bye.